Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. We are going to be talking about probably one of my favorite projects that I have had to date. So this project was one of the ones where I had been thinking of for a while, but I couldn't really justify the fabric cost. And then Bernadette started posting about her like frilly fluffy Edwardian project and I went, I'm gonna do it. So I ordered the fabric. So after I had ordered the fabric, it was time to narrow down a design, and I knew that I had like a lot of options because I'd been looking on Pinterest for like, if I made this one day, what would I want it to look like? And I thought I would go with something, you know, poofy sleeves and lots of ruffles and like all the little like scrumptious details. But what I found was actually something really simple. Well, I guess the insertion lace makes it so it's not quite that simple, but it's simple compared to everything else I was looking at. So, maybe just less flouncy. Less flouncy. The first step of this project was figuring out the lace pattern and how that would divvy up the pattern block that I was working with. I'm not gonna go into a whole lot of detail about how I did this because I live streamed the entire process. So if you want to check out that live stream and get all the good details, I will leave it in a link in the description for you. After all the patterning was done and the seam allowance was added, it was time to pin and cut everything out. I had been eyeing this cotton voile fabric for like over a year at this point, wondering like, would I like working with it? Would I like the feel of it? This is a different fabric than I'm used to working with, so like, would it even be functional for this project? All the things I didn't have answers for. But I'm so glad I like just took that chance with this project because I love this fabric. It's just so pretty. And more things will be made out of it. Also, not sponsored. Like, this is how much I love the fabric, guys. I'm leaving you the link. There's probably gonna be a lot of links in the description because I'm throwing all the information at you guys. The first step in putting together the bodice was to baste around all of the edges, so that way I would know where to like overlap the lace to, because we're sewing this on with like a latch seam, I guess is the technical term for that, versus like a regular seam allowance seam. At the same time as doing all of the basting, I also took the time to gather the parts that needed to be gathered. That way I would not need to interrupt the insertion process for any means. I could just like bam, 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 get the thing done, which is what I wanted to do because it was late at night and I was video chatting with my friend Amy and I was just so ready for bed, but I needed to finish my goal before I could go to bed. Sometimes I set really strict rules with myself. Not always healthy. This was a productive one though. I honestly surprised myself with how the bodice came out. Like, I knew what I was going for, I knew how I altered the pattern, I knew in my head how it would end up, but seeing the reality next to the inspiration, sometimes you just compare the two and you just say, damn, I did good. I did good. I impressed myself. The next step is the sleeves. Again, not going to go into heavy detail on this process because I live streamed it. Link in the description. I am going to keep in some highlights for you though, just so you catch the general process, but if you want General Sewing Company for about an hour, there's a live stream for you. And I have the sleeve cut out. According to the reference that I'm going off of, it had a slight gather, so I cut it out to have a slight gather. And then I have 2 bands of pin tucks on the sleeve. So that's what we're going to be putting in. So I am marking these about every 1.5 inches, so that way the pin tucks will have about a 1/2 inch apart, because I'm going to be doing 1/2 inch pin tucks. The key to a good set of pin tucks is good pressing. I mean, I feel like you can put them in and just kind of like let them wobble, but then they kind of look like a mistake and it's just like, did she mean to leave that seam there? Did she not? I don't know what she's doing. That seems kind of weird. But then you press them and they just lay flat and they get crisp and it just, pin tucks. I need to up my pin tuck game. Bernadette posted a photo on her Instagram and I need to up my game. After all the pin tucks were in and pressed, it was time to finish and set in the sleeves. I finish it with a cuff on the bottom and then like set them in, and it has some pleats at the top, and this wasn't hard to set in. I don't tend to struggle with sleeves. Did I just jinx myself? What's my next project? Am I gonna set in sleeves on my next project? Okay, let's just move on to the skirt. Arguably the skirt was the easiest part because we didn't have any insertion lace. The only real detail was the ruffle at the bottom, and like arguably that's, I mean, wasn't the end of the world. A ruffle's a ruffle, man. I used my general walking skirt pattern that you guys have seen me use on my channel before for various other, no, you guys have never seen me use this pattern. I'm just now realizing because I filmed a lot of projects with it, but they never made it into videos. There's a reason for that. We'll talk about that in a different video, but yeah. The only thing that I did to alter this basic walking skirt pattern was to add some width to the pieces so that way they could be gathered into the waistband as shown in the reference photo. I really kind of struggled with the thought of like, do I make this floor length and historical? Do I make this T-length and everyday history bounding wear? I really struggled with it because I felt like if I'm putting forth all the effort to put in the insertion lace and go off of a historical extent garment, it really should be floor length so I can wear it with historical things. But then like, I want to wear it, and me and floor length skirts do not get along. I move around too much, I fall over too much, it's a hot mess. And eventually the wearing it every day option won out. I went back and forth a lot on how to finish the edges of the skirt so that way they wouldn't fray, because arguably this is going to be the part that sees the most friction other than the arm size. And I just serged it. I did toy with the idea of felling all of those hems, but I felt like it would end up with like really opaque stripes in the middle of the skirt that would otherwise be very sheer because that's the nature of this fabric. The process for putting the skirt onto the bodice is the same as doing all of the insertion lace on the bodice because the waistband is, well, insertion lace. The only thing I did do was back the waistband because I wanted to give it a little bit more structure than what that netting fabric had. After everything had been connected, I started marking out where I thought I wanted the ruffle to go. So that way it would lay flat and even across, you know, the hem of my skirt and look really nice when worn. And then I realized I don't have a dress form that's my size, so even if I get it so it's really nice and even on the dress form, it's not gonna look nice and even on me. And from what I could tell, the hem actually looked really good, so I just kind of lined the ruffle up with the hem and stitched it down and called it good. I don't have any footage of this step because it was a low energy day, but let's look at the skirt right now. It is fabulous. I love it. It's like, it's the right amount of like everyday floof. I definitely get really strong Edwardian vibes and not 70s cult vibes from it, so I guess that's really good. I guess other people could get 70s cult vibes from it though. It's okay, that's not how I see this. It's all good. I don't need to worry about this, right? This project really felt like a stretch of my skills, but also very familiar at the same time because I used patterns that I was familiar with, but I was doing new techniques, which I feel like is a really good way to stretch your skills, especially as like a new sewist. Like I've said probably multiple times in the course of this video, I am super excited to wear this garment, so much so that like as soon as it was finished, I put it on and put up a story on Instagram instead of trying to wait to like make it a surprise for you guys. Sorry? Not really? I mean, we were all kind of excited that day. Like, this dress is going to be fabulous in August when it is stupidly hot and muggy. I will probably live every day in this dress. I'm probably gonna need more in more colors. Maybe I'll make the simplified versions? A simplified version of that in the cotton voile. I might be sold. Okay. Last thing I want to tell you guys is the pattern for this dress will be available in my pattern shop on July 5th. I am also going to be doing the simplified version, which I will pop pictures up right now of what that looks like. It is the same base pattern, just without the insertion lace, and so it looks like a completely different dress, and I'll be selling them separately as well as together. Point? No, that was all on point. I am so proud of myself. That was an on point ramble. Yes. Okay. A link to the pattern shop will also be in the description. Like I said, lots of links. I'll try to organize them the best I can. So, Monday, July 5th, new pattern releases. They're all gonna be Edwardian, like we have worked on here. More videos on the making of these patterns will be in the future, and I think that's all I have. I will see you guys on Monday for a new video and live on Thursday. Bye, friends! Wanna crab at me? Your fans want to say hello. Yeah? There he is, everyone. In his I don't want to be seen glory. Okay, if you poop in my shirt, we're gonna have words. Joe, did you just pee on me? So help your little soul. Joe definitely just peed on me. Are you licking me now? What's going on? Okay, point, back to point, ignore the small animal. Are you asleep? Hey, don't bite me. I'm trying to pet you. Be nice to me.